Good day everyone, my name is Raul G. Humlig and I'm your presenter on our topic which is under Module 25 titled Assessment Strategies that can increase motivation. So at the end of this module, challenge yourself to attain the following learning outcomes. First, cite ways to make assessment more motivating for students. Second, demonstrate appreciation of assessment as a process to evaluate and facilitate learning. Assessment. Assessment is a service of learning, the praise assessment for learning. Assessment is meant to ensure that learning takes place. This is possible only when the assessment process motivates students to learn. But unfortunately, in many instances, assessment is a process does not motivate, instead treatments. So how can you make assessment a motivating and a facilitating experience is the concern of this module. Assessment is something that students drawn upon. It is a scarecrow for students once tests and quizzes. So why is it that many students struggle with classroom assessment, yet find a way to easily succeed on the driver's license exam, a summer job certification, or other practical tests? So the reason often come down to a matter of motivation or lack thereof. So for example, when a 15 or 16-year-old prepare for their driver's license exams, they have a plainly evident source of motivation like pass and you can legally drive a car. Is a similar situation when they prepared for a lifeguarding certification exam. Pass and you can earn extra money this summer. Simply put, students are motivated for real world exams like this because they clearly see how the wing will serve their best interests. So when it comes to classroom assessment, though the benefits the wing will arrange as of use, there often is not an as immediate or tangible and meaningful reward for a good outcome like treat days and gold stars can only go so far, and many students struggle to give long-term goals like passing grades and make the honor roll or working towards graduation in perspective. So this lack of motivation translates directly to for assessment result. After all, how often do any us excel at something we don't see the point of? So the question becomes, how can educator help their students understand the purpose behind regularly administered classroom assessment and gain motivation through that understanding? So, here are the assessment strategies that can increase motivation. So, how can we make assessment a palatable menu for our students' experiences in classroom assessments? And principles of assessment tells us the following. Number 1, make clear your learner's objective every time. So learners need to clarify the objective they are working on. Objective provides the means of clarifying the purpose of evaluation. Objective improves the communication between the teacher and the students. Also, the students must know precisely what is expected to them. So, teachers also need to clarify the criteria to be used to evaluate students. Number 2, make your students own the lesson objective. So in this you must allow them to set their own personal learning targets based on the lesson objective. Additionally, their personal target may be lower than the learning targets set for the class, but with expectation they will gradually bring them up according to their phase until their personal targets coincide with the class target. So in this way, it will the class make them feel unthreatened and comfortable. Number 3, engage your students in self-assessment. So after the students have their own learning target, it's better to have them assess themselves. So self-assessment is the ability to examine yourself to find out how much progress you have made. So if Atlanta got learners an opportunity to evaluate themselves with their own performance, they will bring to mind the personal task and the strategy variables applicable to them. They reflect on the personal characteristics that affect their learning, the tasks they need to work, and on the strategies that can help them. So, in this way, assessment empowers the students to take a more active role in their own learning process. So, self-assessment is evaluating learning tools as well as part of an assessment process. So, through self-assessment, the students will identify their own skills gaps, whether or where their knowledge is vague so simply as it answers the question who am I or practice criterion reference assessment rather than norm reference assessment. So, students must be given an established criterion in which they can compare their performance. So, criteria or criterion are they use to evaluate the degree of students' knowledge in understanding facts, concepts, and principles. This eliminates them comparing their works to others, so having a criterion, they can learn to stop comparing their work to others. So, as a teacher, you should advise your students not to compare themselves to others. Instead, they should believe in their own self that they can do better. Number 5. If you are into criterion reference, then your assessment is certainly based on established criterion, your learning target or objective. So, it has been observed, however, that a number of teachers set learning objective but assess another. So, this lead to students' confusion and discouragement. Number 6. Inspire your students to have mastery focus rather than performance for us. So, you should set your hearts on lasted mastery for loving learning rather than on scores, grades, and performance. If they fail to get an item in a test, tell them not to worry and assure them that they will be taught again until mastery. So if your students can achieve the 100 score, don't you worry. Don't you worry. Tell them that the important is that they have learned something new. So learning does not limit with a book. We can learn from social interactions. So if your students failed encouragement, encourage him or her not to quit. Instead, you should motivate them to do better next time and study the lesson well. Number 7, have a growth mindset. Believe that your students can improve. Failure or wrong answer is welcome. Assure your students that they are not made less of themselves by your wrong answers or mistakes. So what is important is that they learn from their mistakes and continuously grow and improve. So as a teacher, you should say yes, I believe that my students can improve and grow. So, as a teacher, I can do better to find the best strategy to enable them to learn so that the job of a teacher help helping them to learn and grow. And number 8, your assessment practice must be sensitive and constructive because assessment has an emotional impact. Bear in mind that your comments, marks, and grades, as well as the manner you can communicate them to students, can affect their self-confidence. Number 9. Don't make the test too difficult to discourage students nor too easy to make them complacent. It is an extremely easy test, not challenging, while an extremely difficult test is discouraging. And lastly, communicate result or feedback. As a teacher facilitates learning by providing students with important feedback on their learning areas. And that's all about our topic for today. And once again, I am Roel J. Hamlig, and that's all. Thank you.